Minister Hodgson, it's my understanding that you have committed to Alberta Premier Danielle Smith behind closed doors that you will lift the emissions cap. Is that true? Is that your government's plan? If so, when will you do it?
Monsieur le Ministre.
So as I've said many times, we are in discussions with the province of Alberta. They are live, ongoing discussions. I've never found it helpful to debate in a public forum what those consultations are. What I would say is they are productive conversations, and as Premier Smith said recently, she's never been as optimistic that there's a path forward for Albertans on natural resource development.
Senator Batters.
Well, Minister, can you at least confirm that you're not promising one thing on your emissions cap behind closed doors in Alberta and something different to other premiers?
Monsieur le Ministre.
I can confirm we do not say one thing to one premier and something different to another, yes.
Senator Tulajan.
Thank you. Minister, I'm here. Minister, across Canada, Indigenous communities are leading the way in responsible energy development, from the Nisga'a and the Haisla nations in British Columbia, co-owners of the major LNG projects, to the 36 First Nations that have invested over $700 million for a 12.5% equity stake in Enbridge's West Coast natural gas system. These partnerships are creating jobs, revenue, and self-determination. These are tangible examples of economic reconciliation. Yet many Indigenous leaders warn that the federal oil and gas emissions cap would threaten these hard-won opportunities. Can you tell us what your government is doing to ensure that Indigenous-owned oil and gas projects are not undermined by federal restrictions that risk discouraging investment and economic development?
Mr. Minister.
Thank you for the question. I was with Chief Clayton of the Nisga'a actually last night talking about their project, and I think they're quite pleased with the support that they're receiving from the government. I was with Chief Nice last week of the Haisla, who are responsible for LNG Canada 1 and LNG Canada 2 and Cedar LNG, and I think they're quite pleased with the involvement of the government in supporting their efforts. I was with Chief Campbell a couple of weeks ago in Squamish at the wood fiber facility, where we are working with them to grow their ambitions for their First Nation. And I believe Chief Jimmy, who led the West Coast the investment by the 19 First Nations in the West Coast pipeline, is also quite happy with the support they've received in terms of the Indigenous loan guarantee, so First Nations could buy equity in the largest infrastructure system in British Columbia.
Senator Tulajan.
Minister, the Parliamentary Budget Office's analysis shows that the proposed oil and gas emissions cap could cost over 40,000 jobs and 54,000 full-time equivalents by 2032. Meanwhile, the Indigenous Resource Network warns of a looming labor shortage in the energy sector, up to 116,000 jobs by 2035, with Indigenous workers essential to meeting that demand. If investment keeps moving south because of Canada's regulatory barriers, it won't be just dollars leaving. It will be a setback for energy independence and economic reconciliation. Will your government pause or reverse the proposed cap to protect these opportunities?
Good question.
Monsieur le Ministre.
Minister.
Well, I was just up at Kitimat, where there were 12,000 workers working on LNG Canada 1, building LNG Canada 1. I was just at the wood fiber site, where there's 3,000 workers building the wood fiber facility. I was just with Chief Clayton, who, when they just got approval, by the way, for the Silicium, which will, I think, have 20,000 workers between the LNG and pipeline that they will be building. So I think there's lots of jobs coming in Canada if we keep on the right path.
Senator Lafreda.
Thank you, Minister, for joining us.
Last week, you announced over $22 million in federal investment to support 8 projects aimed at accelerating battery innovation and production capacity in Canada, including 2 in my home province of Quebec. And I do support our national ambition to become a global leader in the electric vehicle and battery supply chain. However, I remain concerned about the recent slowdown in EV sales and the potential impact on this emerging sector. Could you provide us with an update on the total financial commitment the government has made to this sector to date, and share your projections in terms of return on investment, job creation, and how we plan to maintain momentum in the face of current market headwinds?
Monsieur le Ministre.
Minister.
So the investments in the EV plants would be under Minister Jolie's ministry, the Ministry of Industry. So I think that question is best directed to her. But what I can say is this government is very committed to protecting the jobs we have in the current auto sector and in building the infrastructure and the capabilities for the industry as it evolves to include more electric vehicles. We all know that over time, the cost of electric vehicles is going down and down and down. It will lead to a gradual transition from combustion vehicles to electric vehicles. We need to work to make sure current jobs stay in Canada and future jobs come to Canada as we make that transition from a mostly combustion engine to a mix of combustion and electric vehicles.